News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Are you having problems with mail delivery to your house? You may not be alone. Should you leave a window open during the winter? And another condo nightmare that we are hearing from one of our listeners. And then there's the bathroom mistakes you may never have known you were making. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team, Remax Properties East. Thank you for joining us. We've got a great show. We're here till the top of the hour. And with us, Chuck Crosby. He is the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings, and they also do powers of attorney, wills, foreclosure defense, commissioner sales, and a lot more. You can reach Chuck, who does a great job at his primary business, which is real estate closings, at 499-6360. Also here, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. You need to get your home inspected, whether it's a new inspection or you're thinking about selling, you want to get a pre-inspection, or if you've got a rodent problem or fly or pest problem, you can call Brad at 844-411-TEAM. And if you are thinking of selling your home now or in the near future or in the far future, you can call me anytime. I work both in Louisville and Southern Indiana, and no home too big, no home too small. You can reach me, Bob Sokoler, on my cell phone, even today, 502-376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. And for a free instant analysis of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope it was a good one for you, and we have a lot going on in today's show. Let's start with a question for Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Office. So, Chuck Scott listens to our show all the time. He has a question that sounds a little like a question we've had a week or two ago. Scott writes in, he has a rental condo, and the unit above leaked in the bathroom.
Oh.
Yeah, it seems like that's a common problem these days. The renter who's renting it says it looks bad. The water leak did some damage in Scott's unit. The condo association contacted the owner of the unit above Scott's, the owner of the unit above Scott says he installed some new plumbing and that everything's working properly and not leaking. And he's refusing to let the condo association representatives in to examine and fix the plumbing leak. Now, the condo association, according to Scott, tried to enter the unit above Scott's, but the master lock's been changed, and now they plan to have a locksmith change the lock and enter the premises. So Scott wants to know, what legal action can he, as the owner of the unit being affected below, can he take against the owner above him for the hardship that the renter has experienced, the damage, and what happens if the renter leaves at the end of the lease because he's not happy with the condo's condition? Chuck.
First thing he needs to do is contact his insurance company and let them know, because that's who's going to be carrying the heavy weight here. They're going to push this claim, just like in a car accident. If somebody rear ends you, you contact your insurance agency, and then they get with the insurance company of the person who ran into you, and then you let them do the heavy lifting. So that's in the cases that I've seen, it'll usually be something like, hey, we ran chicken bones or, rice down a pipe. It exploded. Now it's all over the unit below. Unit below will get with their insurance company. Their insurance company goes after the unit owner above, and unit owner above will say things like, well, it's not me, it's the condo. And then you get into a big wrestling match. I understand that the judge in the courtroom will play referee.
Mm-hmm. Just out of curiosity, if Scott contacts his insurance company, won't his rates go up?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but
right.
It's possible.
But that's why you get insurance. Okay. Yeah. If he wants to take on the cost of all the attorneys and getting things fixed, well, that's up to him. But that's why you have insurance, is for just this sort of situation.
So Scott and I have been going back and forth via email. He says the condo association is getting a locksmith to, if the owner...
That strikes me as a little odd.
To get into the unit.
Yeah, for them to get into the unit.
Because the master key's been changed.
Yeah. Condo associations generally don't have that right to just go in. It's not like they're landlords. At least not that I'm familiar with. Maybe this one's different. Maybe the bylaws allow for that sort of thing. And if it's an emergency, I'm betting there probably is some recourse they have in that regard. But that's not anything that's going to help out Scott.
Yeah. We're seeing more and more of these. Is there any advice you want to give to any of our condo owner listeners?
Well, make sure your insurance is paid up.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Yeah, you want to have the insurance because, like I said, that's what they're there for. The damages to his roof, etc., that's going to need to get fixed. Is he going to pay for it? Well, no, that's why you have insurance. And the insurance will go after the party who causes the damage as well.
Got it. All right. If you hear something that you want to hear again or see it, actually, we have a way to do that. You can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect to our YouTube channel where you will be able to see as well as hear these questions and answers. Over to Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. Claudia bought a new house that backs up to a field. It's new construction, so she thought everything was sealed up, tight. But a week ago, she found evidence that a mouse had gotten into her pantry. She says, mind you, the pantry is in the middle of the house and doesn't have access to the outside. Brad, she's wondering, how did the mouse get there, and what's the most effective way of getting rid of it?
Okay, well, that's a pretty simple question. It gets in through one of dozens and dozens of holes that all of us have in the sides of our house, whether they're new construction or not. Every hose bib, every electrical outlet, every point that something comes through a wall is an access point for a mouse. It's an access point for an insect. So new construction, usually they do not go around and caulk up all of those holes or seal those holes. So that's the first thing you want to do is make sure that all of those exterior points are sealed up, whether you use caulk, whether you use an expandable spray foam, or whether you use a pest control type exclusion product. Like we use products called Stuff It, an excluder that will keep insects and mice out. That's the first thing you do. Once they're in the house, then the best thing to do, depending on your level of squeamishness, is either put a trap out. Little peanut butter as bait works great. That would be, I would just set one of those up in the pantry. If you're not up to that, then call your favorite pest control company, and we have a variety of tools available to us to relocate those vermin.
One way or another.
Yeah.
All right. So you brought up some questions because I'm sure there are a lot of our listeners who are experiencing or have experienced this particular type of problems. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you at Team Bug Out do this type of work, so I get that. Is there a better stuff to use to seal the holes that you would recommend?
So a lot of people will use the expandable spray foam, and it works okay. It's just kind of messy to deal with. Regular, clear caulk works really well as a sealant. Or, like I said, there are products that you can get. Stuff It is an all copper product. You want to be a little bit careful. I know people will poke, like Brillo pads or stainless or steel wool in those holes. You got to be careful with that because those things rust and they will leave streaks on the side of your house. So if you want to take that project on, just make sure you're not putting any material in those holes that can rust. The other thing is, please, anywhere that you have an electrical line coming through, really best not to mess with it. Unless you really know what you're doing. And I definitely would not use any sort of metallic product in any hole around an electrical line, whether it's for your air conditioning unit, whether it's around an outlet. Those are always best sealed with a caulk,
like a clear caulk.
Yeah, it would probably be the best for those.
And then for the mouse traps, do you have one type over another, like the old-fashioned type that you set in it?
So I'm a big fan of snap traps, not necessarily the ones that you find at the hardware store, because those often aren't. They don't work all the way. They might trap it, and then you're dealing with something that's kind of moving around, and that's not good for anybody. But there are a lot of different types of traps. Some even, in the Have a Heart type of line, where you're just, catching it essentially in a box or a little cage, and then you can take it outside. But don't let the mouse out in your backyard if you haven't sealed up all the holes, because they'll come right back in the same way that they arrived the first time.
Oh, that's good advice as well.
I was going to say, whose yard do you want to put them in?
Chuck's yard.
Yard.
Chuck's yard. Yeah. The mouse might bring an apple pie for you, Chuck. I don't know.
I doubt that.
Okay.
No, but that's a very good question, Chuck. Who's that? Will you make the delivery? All right. A reminder, if you'd like to see what buyers and sellers are saying about us, you can go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. We've got a lot of reviews, and we're pretty proud of them. Let us go back over to Chuck Crosby. Melanie says she just moved into a new home, and in this email, she's having problems getting her U.S. mail. Not email, U.S. mail. Some days she gets it, other days it's delivered to some other neighbor, and luckily that neighbor or neighbors have dropped the mail off at her front door. She's wondering what's going on with the post office. Oh, I don't know that we can answer that.
Yeah, I know.
That's out of our germane, but she's wondering, is there anything that she can do? Is anybody else having the problem? Is there anything else that she can do legally to go after the U.S. Post Office? I'm not sure that there is an answer there, Chuck.
I don't think it really is. I mean, I'd go and take an apple pie to the local postmaster and say, hey, actually, I don't think they can take apple pies.
Yeah.
My aunt used to be a postmaster, and she was pretty clear about that. But anyhow, I'd just go to the post office and say, hey, guys, you're delivering it to the wrong place. Just be that squeaky wheel. As to why they're doing it, or if, I can't begin to tell you. My mother gets mail from not only the prior owner of the residence, but also from people all over the neighborhood. I don't know why they just keep collecting in my mom's, and she goes out and she'll take it back to each person. But I can't begin to tell you about the post office.
Yeah, and if we comment, who's to say they're not going to take our mail and put it somewhere
Well,
else?
there you go.
Yeah, right.
I hadn't even thought about that. Now I'm going to be thinking about that at 2 a.m. this morning.
There you go. So, okay. I would just suggest take some apple pie, even if they can't take it. So.
Yeah, just talk to the local postmaster. Like I said, my aunt was one, and she, they try to do a good job, but.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we come back, some bathroom mistakes you may never have known you were actually making. Continuing with us when we come back, Chuck Crosby, the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings, wills, powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner's sale, and more. You can reach Chuck, 499-6360. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of the Home Team Inspection Service. They're the #1 home team inspection service, 9 years, soon to be 10 years, we hope, crossing our fingers in a row, in the United States. You can reach Brad for inspections or for team bug out to get rid of those mice and other things, as well as flies and all. 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I would love to help you. It's easy. Give me a call. There's no home too big, no home too small. And now's actually the time to start talking about, even if it's not for a couple of years, have me out. It's a free, no obligation visit. We'll talk about the process, pricing, but also what maybe you need to do or not do in preparations for the eventual sale. You can reach me at 376-5483. Go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out that form, and just hit submit. And if you'd like a free instant analysis, even right now, you can go to WeSellLouisville.com and click at the top of the page and fill out the information. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran, our mentor, friend, who does a great job with Shark Tank, and we look forward to seeing her in the near future. Continuing with us, Brad Lawler. He owns Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. Team Bug Out will get rid of the bugs. Home Team will come in as a team and actually do the inspections for you, whether it's buying a new home or resale, or thinking about selling. You'll want to get a pre-inspection, a smart move. You can reach Brad at 844-411-TEAM. Also continuing with us, Chuck Crosby, the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. I do a lot of closings with Chuck. I'm telling you, he's the real deal and does a great job. You can reach Chuck for a real estate closing, wills, to create a will, you need one. Also powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner's sale. And Chuck's number to reach him is 499-6360. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to be able to help you. Please don't hesitate. No home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, surrounding areas, southern Indiana. Call me for a free, no obligation review. Talk about the process now or in the future. You can reach me on my cell phone, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Fill out the form, hit submit, and for that free instant analysis of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com and click at the top of the page, whether you're on a computer or on your smartphone or tablet. Well, there are a lot of habits we have when it comes to our bathroom habits. There's some that are pretty obvious. We've talked about in the past. If you're new to the show, I'm not going to belabor some of the things like you never flush the toilet while the lid is up. Okay. You don't throw wet naps or wet wipes in the toilet. Okay. But here are some things I kind of don't know that I've ever heard of. Do you pile your hair on top of your head as you shampoo? And apparently, this recipe for tangled knots includes shampooing a pile of wet hair on top of your head, especially in people who have long hair. And for those of us who have very little hair, I guess we don't have to worry about it, do we?
Not a bit.
Not a bit. Do you clean your ears with cotton swabs? Now, I have to tell you, my wife, LaDonna, is a nurse, and she has cautioned me against using cotton swabs because of, and Chuck and Brad, you're actually, if you use those swabs, you're potentially packing wax into your ears. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, so you should not use because it will undo your body's hard work of getting rid of the earwax coming out your ears.
That's why I use a stiletto.
Wait, a stiletto?
I'm kidding. Kidding.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Ouch.
I was going to say, yeah.
You have steady hands, Chuck.
Yeah, a stiletto. But there are washes, right? I mean, LaDonna says you can use a wash. There's a warm water wash.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of them advertised on a variety of social media, and also those with cameras.
Oh, with camera? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
so you can see what you're
what's
doing.
In there? Oh, geez. Yeah. I haven't seen that. But one day I'd like to have her on the show, and she can give us some tips about things like that. Anyway, also use a washcloth to clean your face. Most things like your washcloth are a perfect paradise for bacteria to latch onto. So if you use it, do you get rid of it that same day? Do you wash it? The only surefire way to keep bacteria at bay is to grab a new washcloth before you wash your face each time. Did you know that? I didn't. I hope you now know it. Don't rinse your bar soap in between uses. If you don't, you should. If you don't, one study said that pathologic organisms are actually hiding on the bar soap during and after use. That's according to the Center for Disease Control. So wash the soap in between uses. Clean the surface at room temperature. If you're heating your tub, your sink, and tiles to just 10 degrees above the normal air temperature, you double the effectiveness of alkaline. For the best results, fill your tub or sink with the hottest water you can run from the tap. Let the piping hot water sit for a few minutes before you start scrubbing, and then clean the surfaces. You keep your toothbrush too close to the toilet. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. You don't want to do that. You use hot water to wash your hands. There's no need to scorch your hands with hot water to kill germs anymore. Well, the studies show that lukewarm and cold water actually work just as effectively. And also, you forget to clean your toothbrush. I mean, researchers from the University of Manchester found about 10 million germs like E. coli on the average toothbrush. It's important to rinse your toothbrush well after each use and occasionally soak it in a cup of vinegar for about 30 minutes to get rid of any leftover bacteria. Quickly, we'll finish this up. Scrub your body too hard during washing. Aggressive scrubbing with a washcloth or a loofah can remove skin's natural protective barrier. You don't condition your scalp because most people apply conditioner throughout the body of their hair and then skip the scalp. So think about doing that. And soap doesn't contain moisturizer. You can really dry out your skin if you use a bar soap without using any kind of moisturizing agent. So those are some of the things that we came up with for bathroom mistakes you may be having or doing. Back to our questions. Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection Service. Harrison sent us an email. He listens to us all the time. He has heard us talk about a window open when it rains. Remember we did that a couple of weeks ago, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he says he recently read that you should leave a window open in the winter. He says the article that he read claims it improves air quality, humidity control, odor removal, and mental well-being. Okay, and he wants to get our thoughts on it. What are you thinking here, Brad?
Well, I would just say from a building science standpoint, there's nothing necessarily wrong with keeping a window open. I will say, though, houses are very different. Many houses draw fresh air in very well. These high efficiency air conditioning systems that we have now turn over a lot of fresh air. So I don't know that you have as many problems there. Homes without central air, it's going to be a lot more difficult to move air around, particularly if you're doing a lot of cooking. Cooking will put a lot of pollutants in the air. A lot of moisture in the air. It changes a lot of things. So in houses without an efficient air conditioning system or heating system, that could be a problem. People who are burning wood in their fireplaces tend to collect some soot in their homes. So I think that, having a little bit of cross ventilation with the window open might help with some drafting. Again, some homes are better without those windows open, though, because of the way that the flue is structured. So yeah, I'm not opposed to keeping a window open during the cold weather. Just understand that you're basically double conditioning that air, though, when it's moving back into the house. So your house may not be as energy efficient, but you certainly may feel more comfortable in a home with a little bit of more ventilation in it.
Good.
All I know is that I was told from a child, do not heat up the outside.
Keep the windows closed.
Right. Right.
Except that Sherry will leave the windows open all day and night, definitely through the night, as long as it doesn't get below 30.
Is this a message to your wife, Sherry, about leaving
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Sherry,
I've made that message before. It goes on deaf ears.
Yeah, don't blame me, Sherry. Don't blame me.
Or me, yep. If you're thinking of selling your home, we have a free no-obligation book, and it has hundreds of useful tips. If you'd like a copy, simply send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com, and put selling tips in the subject line. I'll send it right out to you. And on that same note, if you're thinking about a home inspection, either for a new house, a resale, or your home to get it inspected prior to selling it, like to know what's involved with a home inspection, our friends over at Home Team Inspection Service have a report that you can get. Again, these are all free of charge, no obligation. Send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com. Put the word inspection in the subject line, and we will send that report out to you. Chuck Crosby Law Office. Drew moved into a new house 6 months ago after selling his home in Jefferson County. He said he just last week received an email from Spectrum claiming that Drew had not returned some of the equipment that he had when he owned the home in Jefferson County to Spectrum. So Drew is saying he specifically brought the equipment in, and he had a receipt for it, but it's been 6 months. He can't find the receipt. He's wondering, what can Spectrum do to him legally or financially if he doesn't return the equipment to Spectrum? Chuck.
That is not something I've ever really delved into, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I assume that there's all sorts of fine print that say they can do everything from taking his firstborn to suing him for whatever. Will they actually do that is my question. I'd just go back. They keep records. Everything's on the computer. He ought to be able to go back to where he brought the equipment in and then clear it up with them. It may be that this isn't Spectrum, too. I know buying a house here not too long ago, we would get mail from all manner of places that would look like, would claim to be insurance companies, would claim to be, mortgage companies, would claim to be utilities. So I'd verify in the first place and then just tell them, look, I did take it back. Honestly, I think that would be a difficult case to proceed with. You didn't bring it back. Well, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Right. It's better than just rolling over. And you're right. It could be a scam or a phishing scam that's trying to get some money from you. Yeah.
Could be. But I'd go back to the place that you took the equipment and then have them look it up on the computer and then just get them to verify that it was done and have them correct the error.
Yeah. Good advice. Final question for our friend Brad Lawler at Home Team Inspection Service. Donovan heard us talk about small bugs flying around the house. He said he had the same problem with what he thought were fruit flies, but then he read an article that it may not be a fruit fly. He's wondering, how many types of bugs could we possibly see flying around the house? Are they dangerous? And how do we get rid of them? And then I got an update for you on that subject. Go ahead.
Well, in the small fly category, I think there's something like 12,000 varieties of small flies that are plaguing us. Commonly, there's about a dozen in our area that we see more frequently. Sanitation is it. Sanitation's the start of all pest control. You got to keep things clean. We've talked in the past several shows about different areas that are dirty, smelly, stinky. Those are all great breeding grounds for bugs. These drains that dry out are access points. Grease and slime and sludge that are in sinks and other areas of a house. Those are all places that will attract the flies. Flies will also, these small flies, we see them on fruits and we see them on plants that have been brought in for the winter, coming out of the dirt. So those are all the starting points for flies. Just keeping things as clean as you can before you put down any sort of chemical. I know we've had some good success of those Zevo fly lights here. They've been working well. They're a little pricey, but they're really effective for those small flies. And then there's natural treatments like just a little bit of vinegar that will often draw them in.
And that's what my update was on the Zevo. I had bought a couple of months ago, two of them, about $36 on Amazon. And I have to tell you, you're right, Brad. They do work really well. And I actually replaced the inserts, which were relatively inexpensive, about $9 for two, and pulled the other ones out. And if you turn them over, you see there's a lot of little gnats, things, flies, and all. So it does a decent job. Check that out, Zevo, Z-I-V-O. Right. We don't own any stock in it, but you just need to know about that. Here's something that actually works. Our thanks as we wrap up this show here in 2025 to Chuck Crosby, owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings, wills, powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner sale. You can reach Chuck at any time, mostly business hours, but you can reach him, 499-6360. Also, our thanks to Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They come in as a team and get rid of the pests. They come in as a team and they do the inspection. They do a great job. You can get a hold of Brad and his folks at 844-411-TEAM. And if you are thinking of selling your home, I would love to be able to help you. Just simply give me a call. No home too big, no home too small. I think we just sold a $3.5 million home. Our smallest home we've ever sold was $12,000. So we're all over the board on prices and locations, Louisville, Southern Indiana, all around. We will help you. Just give me a call, free, no obligation estimate. I'll come out. We'll talk as long as you want to at least get an idea of what the process looks like. You can reach me at 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com and fill out the form. Or you can get a free instant analysis of what your home is worth by going to WeSellLouisville.com and clicking on the top of the page. We are out of time. See you all next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.